I'm Alexis and welcome to my third and final Winterween vlog. If you missed my previous two Winterween vlogs, I will link them below, but yes, this is going to be the last one, and this is going to be days 5, 6, and 7 of the readathon. If you're coming right from my last vlog, then the last thing we talked about is how I was about to start Voices in the Snow by Darcy Coates, and I did do that last night. I didn't get very far at all. I want to say I got to like chapter 5. Yeah, I only got to chapter 5, so we're still kind of learning what's going on. But so far in this one, this is about a girl named Claire, and we open up and she is driving in her car. It's very, very snowy out. It seems like there's a storm going on, and she keeps talking about some event that's happening, and basically the world is ending. It seems like we don't have any other details so far. We just know she is in the car traveling to her aunt's house to pick her up and then go to her sister's house who has a bunker. So some sort of bad thing has happened where they have to stay in a bunker. Right away in the story, she gets into a car crash and she wakes up and she's in this stranger's house. And this is in the synopsis. We already know going in, this is what the story is going to be about. So Claire wakes up in the stranger's house. She is covered in bandages, and right away she tries to get out of bed and run because she doesn't know where she is. She doesn't know what happened, and she finds she can't walk. She immediately collapses. The stranger comes in. He introduces himself. His name was, I think it was Doran, and he basically tells her, you were in a car crash. I rescued you. The phone lines are down. It's too snowy to go get help. You just have to stay here till you're better. But Claire isn't going to just trust what this guy is saying. She has no idea who he is, and she just doesn't really believe that she got into a car crash and that's what happened. She has like no memory of what was going on before she woke up here. So yeah, we're just setting things up so far in this book, not very far. I am very, very intrigued about this like world-ending event that's going on. I did not know it was like an apocalypse book going in. I thought it was going to be a standard sort of Misery by Stephen King book. Just like this woman is rescued after a car crash and kind of kept captive. But yeah, it seems like this is going to have a lot more to it than that. So excited to read more of this later. This is the book I'm using for the prompt to read a book in the dark. So I've been reading it in bed at night. We'll talk about that more later. But for right now, I just finished work for the day. So I wanted to sit down and start our next book, which is going to be Snow by Ronald Malfi. And this is counting for the prompt of read a book that was published 5 or more years ago. This one was published in 2010, so it definitely fits the prompt. And this one, just like all of the other books on my TBR for this week, is another winter snowy horror book. This one is about a man who is stranded at an airport on Christmas Eve. So he decides to rent a car and try to drive to his location with a bunch of strangers who are also stuck, but they're having a really difficult time traveling in the snow, and they almost end up hitting a stranger who is walking down the highway claiming that his daughter is out in the snow somewhere. So I think this one is going to be really fun and twisty, and it's very short. It's only 200 pages. I think that's all the updates for now, so we're gonna get to reading. It's not looking good so far. We're 9 pages in, and so far he has made fun of our main character, Todd, I mean by he, has made fun of another character's weight and like was calling him Chunky in his head as a nickname. And he's at the airport, so these are all strangers. So now he's at the airport bar because his flight has been delayed, and this woman walks in and she's like having trouble getting through the crowd. Like he notices her struggling against how packed it is in there. And so he goes up to her, like helps her up, and he offers to buy her a drink. He comes back, hands it to her, and says, "Merry Christmas." "So you're a Merry Christmas and not a Happy Holidays kind of guy, huh?" "I'm sorry, did I offend you?" "Not at all, it's refreshing. I'm so sick of political correctness. I'm suffocated by it. We're so goddamn politically correct that we lose our individualism, our definition as human beings. Don't you agree?" What? It is not that serious. Like, calm down. So, we'll see. I'm going to give it a chance because it was published 15 years ago. So I'll let you know if anything else happens. Okay, I'm glad I stuck with this. I just passed the 50-page mark, so I'm at page 66. This is so good. Oh my God. I don't want to give too much away because like the back doesn't really go in to what's happening, and I went in completely surprised. So I really recommend doing that. But just to describe a little bit what's going on. So we open up and we're at the airport, and I kind of told you he ended up meeting that woman, and the writing has got better since then. So like, I don't know what that was about, but these characters are more tolerable. So he ends up with that woman renting a car because they were on the same flight that got canceled anyways. So they're going to try to drive to Illinois from Chicago. And as they're leaving the airport to get their rental car, they also invite this super cute old couple named Fred and Nan. Love them so much. They are such great characters so far. So all four of them are in the car. They're driving through the snow. It's very slow going. And as the synopsis describes, they end up having to swerve out of the way because on the highway, there's a man just like standing in the middle of the road. So they swerve, they end up smashing up the front of the car pretty good, and they get out and they check like, is this guy okay? What's he doing in the middle of the highway? And the guy is just super, super weird. Vibes are off. He's just not speaking the way a human would, and he tells them that his daughter is missing, but the details are just, they're not matching up. He can't really tell them where the car was, how long it's been since he last seen her, like what was going on when he lost her. So they're very suspicious, but they can't just leave him out in the snow freezing. So they get him in the car, they get it started up again, and they start going down the road towards where they think this town is. So they reach this town, but the car can't go any further. It's pretty messed up, like I told you, and it dies. So they get out of the car and they start walking into this town, and just things are weird. It basically looks like the town has just been abandoned. Like cars are just left abandoned with like their doors open and their keys in the ignition. There's nobody. It's a complete ghost town. Not a single light is on. Not a single candle is flickering, like as if the power was out. Just super creepy vibe. And then our strange friend from the highway ends up taking off into the woods, and our main character Todd follows him, and shit gets real. Like it just goes from there. There's super gory descriptions of what they're finding in this abandoned town, and we're just learning more about what's happening, what's kind of taken over the town, and it's really good. It's really like got me on the edge of my seat. There was a scene where our group of people were watching kind of what was going on in the center of town through a window, and like it was creepy. Like I could see it in my head, and books don't usually creep me out, but this one, it's doing a good job. I'm going to keep reading now, but I wanted to give you an update before I got too much farther. I'm just excited to see what happens. Okay, I think I'm going to call it there. I just came back in from letting the dogs out for the last time tonight, and I had ended up making it to part 2. So 105 pages in, and as much as I want to just finish this all right now and continue reading, I do really want to give myself enough time to read some of Voices in the Snow before I fall asleep. So I'm going to get into bed now and get going on that one. Plus I have the audiobook of this one, so I could even listen to this while I'm working tomorrow if I want to. So yeah, just trying to plan ahead. But my thoughts are really the same with Snow. Nothing else I can really tell you has happened in the last 40 pages since we talked last. Just the deaths in this are brutal and excellent. They are so good. Good morning. I am just getting ready real quick because unfortunately I have meeting after meeting after meeting today, so I don't think I'm going to be able to listen to too much of an audiobook like my plan had been. Maybe later, and maybe if some of them end early, I can squeeze some time in. But I thought before I jump into those meetings, I would just give you a little update because I made it not far, but a little ways into Voices in the Snow. I made it to chapter 9, 22% of the way into the book. So far, it's fine. There's nothing really like incredible about the book. We're still just kind of getting used to things. So we're following our main character, Claire, and in the section I was reading last night, she was really just sort of like getting her strength back and exploring the house. So we find out that Doran is like super, super rich, and the house that she is in is like a mansion. Like, she hasn't even explored the whole thing. They're just kind of staying, it seems like, in the one room. And then there was a scene where she went down to like the dining hall and the kitchen and stuff because he was making her soup. Which, this is so funny. This is almost reading like a romance. Like, if I didn't know it was a horror book, I'd be like waiting for a romance to start between them. He seems very nice, very sweet. He just like really wants to take care of her. There was a scene where she asked to take a shower and he was like, well, you have stitches and like you really shouldn't get all your bandages wet. So you should really just do a sponge bath and then I'll help you wash your hair. And like he did, he washed her hair for her. And like that is straight out of a romance book. Like, I don't know, I keep waiting for like them to fall in love or something. So, the only other thing is Claire is kind of annoying me. I have 10 minutes before my meeting, so we have to speed this up. Claire is annoying me a little bit because I get that she doesn't know this guy or trust him yet, but like the very first thing she does when she's left alone is she tries to like run and find her car, and it's just like, it's literally a blizzard outside. You don't know where your car is, and you can barely walk. So she obviously collapses and he has to like find her and bring her back inside. And you know, it was just dumb. So I don't think she's the smartest person ever. She's also dealing with a lot of memory issues. So she doesn't remember kind of why she was going to her aunt's house or like what was going on the outside world, which is super convenient because as the reader, we're also trying to figure out what this mystery is. And another super convenient thing is Doran's house, his family is like super old-fashioned, so they don't have any sort of like new technology like TVs or cell phones. Yeah, he said his mom doesn't like any of that stuff and likes to preserve history. So that's another thing. Like, I could almost see him possibly being like a vampire or something. Those are just like the old-fashioned vibes I'm getting from him. There haven't been any like real hints, and I don't think this is a vampire book. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. That'd be cool. I'm always down for an accidental vampire. But yeah, just kind of a slow start so far because we don't really know what's going on and we're just kind of waiting for the mystery to unravel to kind of see if we can actually trust Doran, if he had something to do with her accident, and really the mystery of what's going on outside. My theory is that like the world's ending, like why else would she have had like sort of this reaction that she did in the first chapter of like panicking and trying to go to her sister's house with a bunker, but it's really just a theory because we don't know anything else right now. But I think that's about all for now. Where did I put my lip gloss? I have been so obsessed with these Summer Friday lip balms. This is brown sugar. It's so pretty. It gives you like just a little bit of tint. Love them so much. And they're not sticky like other lip glosses, so I can wear it all day and my hair isn't getting stuck to it. And oh, I just love them so much. I want like every single color of them. But yeah, we're gonna keep going with Voices in the Snow after work today once it gets dark. And then if I have time, I will try to listen to a bit of the audiobook. So I have to get going now and join my meeting, but I'll check in with you guys in a little bit. Because I'm done with work now. You can probably hear me cooking dinner, so sorry about that. But like I said, this will be quick. I'm continuing listening to Snow right now. I am at the 70% mark, and I honestly can't believe I still have 2.5 hours left of this. Like, I'm still enjoying it, but I feel like my enjoyment has gone down since the first part. Now it's just feeling like the same repeat. Like, oh, they go to a safe spot and then they decide to go out into the snow, they encounter the monster thing, they get to another safe spot. And it's just like over and over and over again. And people we're meeting that I'm liking, they're dying right away. And it's like the people that I don't like in this story are still surviving for some reason. So yeah, I'm at the point where like I'm ready for this to be done. I could not care less about this little love story we're getting, and like the whole backstory with the main character Todd and his son, like I could do without it. I just want to get back to the horror bits and fighting the monsters and like, let's get on with it. I did it. I finished. I cannot believe that this audiobook took me all night to listen to. It is 11 o'clock at night. And like, yeah, I took a few breaks here and there. Like I wasn't listening to the audiobook like straight through, but like, I don't even know. I don't know if it was the narrator was really, really slow because I did have it at like 2.25 speed, which is pretty normal for me. I feel like I could have read this way faster physically, but whatever. I got a lot done tonight. The house looks so good. All of the dishes are done. I know I was complaining a little bit in the last update, but it really just was because it was dragging. Did it to be faster, and it really was just kind of the same things happening over and over again. So yeah, it was solid for what it was. I think I want to go with a 3.5 star rating. I don't think it's strong enough to be 4 stars. I still really enjoyed it. It's still super unique to anything I've ever read before, and the ending was pretty good. It's really just a book this small, should not drag, but I'm very happy I read it. Part 1 was so good, and had it kept up kind of the same level of like action and reveals and gory stuff happening, like it could have been a 5 star, like part 1 5 stars. So very excited. Another book checked off of our Winterween TBR. So real quick, I'm just going to update my reading journal with the books I've now completed, and then yeah, gonna get into bed and read as much as I can, and I'll see you in the morning for our last day of Winterween. I'm letting the dogs out and I cannot believe how hard it's snowing. Okay friends, hello, happy last day of Winterween, and actually happy last night because it is already late. It's already 9 o'clock and we have not talked at all yet today. So here's the thing. Voices in the Snow is my last like full novel that I have to read for the Reading a Book in the Dark prompt. So since it got dark, which was basically as soon as I finished work, I've been trying to read this one on my Kindle. I just made it to the 50% mark and I don't like it. I'm DNFing it. I don't like to DNF books for readathons because obviously I was using this for a specific prompt. It kind of works out because I did read that extra one at night, so I can just like use that. And like, yeah, I know it's not that serious. Like, it's a readathon. It doesn't mean anything if I complete everything, but like, you know, I like completing everything. So as much as I don't want to DNF a book, I don't want to continue with this one even more. I don't know how to say this nicely. Like, there's nothing super wrong with this book. I'm just bored. It's really just not what I was expecting it to be. I was expecting it to be way more creepy, and it's so slow. I don't feel like reading it, and I don't feel like pushing myself to finish it today just to complete it for the readathon. I ended up looking up some spoiler-filled reviews on YouTube, and well, both of the reviews I watched said that the ending made it all worth it. Like, I think I'm good. I mean, I know what happens now, and sure, it sounds cool, but I don't want to waste the time to get there. It was really more of a romance than it was a horror book so far, and from hearing the reviews, like, that is what this is. This is very much actually a romance book that just has some horror elements more towards the end, and that's fine. It's just not what I feel like reading right now. The little bits of horror that we've had sprinkled in so far in this, I've enjoyed. Darcy Coates always knows how to do like ghosts and creatures like that really, really well. So in this one, we have sort of this like old woman hag ghost that's appearing around the house, and only Claire sees her. And that's also what's annoying me is Claire sees her, right? And she like screams and wakes Dorian up because it's always when he's sleeping or not in the room or whatever. And of course, as soon as Dorian looks, the ghost is gone. But then Dorian like runs around the house like looking for people, like thinking it's an intruder. And even Claire is like, she's a real person, like she was there. But every time they describe her, this hag has like her ribs are poking out of her skin. So what do you mean this is a real person? Like, why would you ever think this was a real live person? And like, she did bring up to Doran and be like, are there ghosts? Is your house haunted? And he's like, no. So right away she was just like, oh, it must be a real person then. They must have broken it. But like, her bones are poking out of her skin. What do you mean she's a real person? So it's just, Claire's kind of stupid. I gave it a try. This one isn't for me. I've enjoyed other Darcy Coates I've read, so definitely don't take this as me saying she's a bad author, because I do like her other stuff. I just don't feel like this one, so we're putting that one down. And then we are going to start our official last read of the readathon, which is going to be Happiness Volume 5, I think, by Shuzo Oshimi. I guess now is a good time to get it, so be right back. Okay, yes, I was correct. Happiness Volume 5. This one is a manga series, obviously the 5th volume. This series follows a young boy. I think he's in high school, might be middle school. And one night, I think he's like walking home from school and he gets attacked by a vampire and he gets turned into one. And him just having to learn how to live a normal life and not let anybody know he's a vampire is so good. The artwork is stunning. And then I don't remember if it was volume 3 or 4, but like the ending, crazy. I don't even know where this series is gonna go. Just know that we are getting introduced to a lot more vampires than just our main character, and the girl who turned him should be easy to fly through it right now. I'm gonna get on the couch next to Milo and we're gonna finish out Winterween with hopefully a book I enjoy more than the last one I was trying to read. Right back on the floor to update. This was so fast. This was definitely like the quickest volume of Happiness I've ever read. There were very few words. It was a lot of pictures. It was fine. It wasn't the best volume ever. A lot of shit is happening now. Like, nobody is safe, everybody is dying. And then right towards the end, it seems like we had a time jump. So that's strange. I'm gonna be very curious to see what has happened. It seems like we jumped forward 10 years. So it seems like the series is taking an interesting turn. This was so fast, I kind of want to read more. I know I have a lot of other things I could be reading for my TBR, but like, it's the last day of Winterween. Maybe we could fit in another volume. So I think I'm gonna get ready for bed now, but I'm planning on filming the outro tomorrow morning when I look a little bit more put together. So if I end up reading anything else tonight, I will tell you about it then. Okay friends, that is it. That is a wrap on Winterween 2025. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far. If you would like to, you can leave me the little ghost emoji down in the comments. That's the one I have been posting all week on all of my Winterween related things. And if you participated this year, please let me know below what your favorite book you read was. Because this one was split up into 3 vlogs, I thought I would give you just a tiny little recap of everything we read. Okay, so our first read for Winterween ended up being The Overnight Guest by Heather Gudenkopf, and I gave this one 3.5 stars. And this of course was for the prompt to read a book with a house on the cover or in the title. The second book I read was When I Arrived at the Castle by Emily Carroll, and this one ended up being 2.5 stars. Not a favorite, even though the artwork was stunning. And we had to move some things around, so this one ended up being my book for read a book in the dark or at night. Next up, I finished The Gathering by CJ Tudor, and I ended up giving this one 4.5 stars. Definitely a new favorite vampire book of all time, and this counted for the prompt to read a horror or a thriller book. Then of course, in this vlog, we read Snow by Ronald Malfi. I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars, and this counted for the prompt to read a book published 5 or more years ago. And last up, to round out the readathon, the book I finished last night, Happiness Volume 5 by Shuzo Oshimi. And of course, I gave this one 3 stars, and this counted for the prompt to read a spooky novella, manga, or audiobook. And in case you were wondering, because I did promise you an update, I did end up reading Happiness Volume 6 when I got into bed last night. It was very good. It was just a lot like Volume 5, where we're just kind of following one character now that we've had this time jump into the future. And while I still enjoyed it, it's definitely not my favorite so far in the series, so I also gave this one 3 stars. But I am very excited to continue with the series and see where it goes. That's going to be it from me for now, but don't worry, I will be back to daily vlogging for Summerween. So make sure you look out for that. And if you would like to subscribe, I do post more than just during the weenie readathons. I try to post twice a week, so that's always something to look forward to. But as always, friends, I hope you read a good book today, and I will see you soon in my next one. Bye.